Hey there, this is Bruce Lee Money from Thermal and a Quarter, and welcome to another episode of Song Stories, where we talk about why we wrote the songs that we did. Today we'll talk about the song N.F.A, the new single from the upcoming album A World Gone Mad. N.F.A was written about 4 years ago when the world's stumble into increasingly authoritarian governance had just begun to gather momentum. Since then, it's been kind of like watching a 10-ton brick go downhill on ball bearings, sick, out-of-control thing, watching it smash and destroy so many of the things that we hold dear, including the ideas of truth and reality itself. We use the abbreviation N.F.A because otherwise the title of Neoliberal Fascist Autarky would be a bit of a jawbreaker. For those of you familiar with the work of thinkers like Noam Chomsky, these terms and ideas should be familiar, especially in the modern democracies we live in and given the ideals and principles they're supposed to promote. The illusions of liberal economy, the systematic breakdown and disassembly of democratic institutions, education, regulations, the imposition of greater and greater control with lesser and lesser tolerance for questioning and criticism, vanishing accountability and more concentration of power, and of course the rallying populist cries for isolationism, self-reliance, and the denial and rejection of international cooperation. And well, we look around and we see more and more of these things around the world every day, and what's even scarier, they're enjoying a lot of popular support. It's a free market. It's how much you want it. Get your head down, muscle forward. I've got your back. I've got you covered. You just heard a playthrough of the first verse, and the words there go into how in our liberal democracies the spirit of if you work hard you can achieve anything is supposed to be a driving force, but somehow the system seems rigged in exactly the opposite direction. It's my right to plenty, my subscription to heaven. So why if I dismantle your right to education? It's my high I'm rolling 7. So why if your square meals never know? The pre-chorus with its chaotic drum and bass interaction and the strange chords and voices goes into how our elected representatives very soon turn into these kind of feudal lords with a God-given right to absolute power and very soon absolute corruption. The second verse talks about the division and fear that is relentlessly fueled with the subsequent glorification of the strong supreme leader who is the only hope, the only route to salvation. So N.F.A begins with a really slimy, greasy drum and bass groove, a bass line that Leslie came up with and actually is kind of the core on which the song was built. But I have here with me Mr. Rajeev, drummer with the band from its inception. So Rajeev, so when Leslie first brought this groove in and we started writing the song, how did you approach, building a drum groove around it? And
yeah, I mean, this was one of the later songs that we wrote, right? It was
perhaps the very
last song
on the album.
And I remember having a lot of fun on this because most of the songs were already done, and we had kind of pretty much fixed on the zone that The World Gone Mad had to be.
It was becoming easier to stay in that zone.
Yeah, as an album. And this groove. I mean, a lot of the grooves. Leslie brings in a lot of inputs into how to approach, the space, the bounce, the swing, the various aspects that's important to keep the bass and the drums together, the rhythm section together. But what excited me about this was the dynamics that was required in playing it, especially this groove. Initially, when we played it, there's always this thing of, okay, you got to keep it really soft when the bass player is doing an interesting part over it, and the drums are always trying to take a back seat behind it. But here it was, no, keep it right up there, but there has to be so much space, and it has to be you're playing it pretty up with energy.
So intense but not busy.
Yeah, intense, not busy. That little hi-hat accent that comes in actually makes a huge difference in the groove. That it makes it bounce as well, but it's not busy at all. And then there's an odd crash that comes in between, which catches everybody else with the guitar and Tony's guitar as well.
The pre-chorus also was really interesting because there's this sense of, it goes from this kind of slick, slimy groove, like we said, and it becomes this really crazy drum and bass, very chaotic, very busy suddenly. So from intense but not busy to intense and very busy.
That's the kind of stuff I love doing. That's kind of bipolar playing is right up there for me. I love doing that. But here, it wasn't just in terms of volume, in terms of dynamically changing the volume. It was also in terms of how busy it is. And like the first part was very organized, was really organized, and there was this, actually there's the kick drum plays also a very important role there, because it's always there's a double kick. It's not just a single kick that's keeping it. It's a soft one, and then the second one is a bit louder, and so it's very organized. It sits well. But the next part, when the band came up with that part, and I remember clearly we were talking about...
I think the references were Jojo Mayer and...
Yeah, I mean, like just getting into the Nerve guys and how they explored into this. But it was quite challenging, because there have been other songs in our repertoire where we've got a lot of dynamics happening. But this one was... it was all out. It wasn't just in terms of volume. It was in terms of busyness, in terms of being chaotic. Yet, there are 4 cycles of singing happening. So there had to be a cyclical thing that's happening there as well. But that's the part that tripped out, and we were like, okay, this is taking the song somewhere.
And the outro is again a section where we try and do this whole order within chaos and chaos within order kind of thing, and it devolves.
Just before the chorus itself. I mean, the chorus is a standard rock, big
riff,
big rock band kind of loose hi-hat, smashing the hi-hat,
and the chorus, I guess, is the part of the song where that big chant of we must make this land great again. And as part of that, of course, we need to isolate, disenfranchise, and remove minorities, usually on religious and racial lines kind of thing. So
and if you think
it needed to be a part like that.
And the hi-hat, keeping it so loose and playing it, it's again not played straight. There's a little bit of a bounce to it that happens, and it feels like in these mega satsangs where there's this ching happening. So it's like da 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 da. There's a 1 and a 2 and a 3 kind of happening on it. And that, after that, going into it just breaks down, becomes super quiet, where Tony is just playing this intro to
the intro to the outro.
Intro to the outro. And that's again quintessential Thermal and Quarter madness. It's been happening for 25 years now, I guess.
So Rajeev Rajgopal, everybody.
N.F.A.
is out there now. It's streaming from a platform that's probably in your pocket already. So do go out and listen to it on Spotify and Apple Music and wherever else. It's a world gone mad. Stay safe, stay careful, and thanks for watching.